everybody, and welcome back to another MLP AU. This is a Grimdark story, but nonetheless, still an AU. So today we are looking at a story called Mistletoe, created by the infamous Scribbler Productions. Now, this story, I will leave a little discretion here. I haven't read it, actually. I have watched the video. We are going to watch the video. I haven't watched it since its release, though. So, I forgot a lot. Easy to say, I forgot. But yeah, I'm gonna start with reading the story myself here. And then after that, we can go see all the pretty pictures and hear all the voice acting and everything that comes with the full audio production. So, this is a good story. I actually really liked this infection when it was released. But yeah, the festive season has come to Equestria once again. The time for celebrations, family, friends, food, and decorations. And this year, Pinkie Pie has found the best decoration for the holiday season. Maybe this new variant of mistletoe is a little strange, but the glowing red berries help ponies find it in Sugar Cube Corner so they can kiss underneath it. It's perfect. That is, until ponies who kiss beneath the mistletoe start developing strange, disturbing symptoms of an unknown sickness. Oh my god, just reading that. Oh my god, I'm geeking out already. I loved it. I love it so much. Well, like I said, we'll do that after. I turned the font red. Well, not the font, the formatting red, dark red. So I hope people don't exactly mind with that. But yeah, Pinkie's new mistletoe is perfect. As until opponents. Okay, we read that. We read that already. All right, I'll find a way. I have to. I'm the princess of friendship. I don't fail. Twilight Sparkle, you got your work cut out for you. I'm geeking out. Oh, the memories, they're flooding back. Folks, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love this. The first flakes of snow had fallen over Ponyville, blanketing its colorful cottages in soft white powder. Hearth-warming decorations adorned every street, strings of fairy lights, wreaths on doors, ornaments of all shapes and sizes. Sugar Cube Corner was no exception. Its gingerbread-like facade practically glowed with festive charm. Also, disclaimer, I will make mistakes. I can't read these live in the moment perfectly. Sometimes things require a couple takes, but that's okay. Inside, Pinkie Pie was a whirlwind of holiday cheer. She zipped back and forth, hanging garlands and arranging desserts with her usual exuberance. Exuberance? Ugh. English. Sometimes I can't even figure out what stuff means sometimes. But this year, the centerpiece of her display was something special she had brought back from her latest adventures. Ooh, see, this is what I'm talking about. Screw up. Ta-da! Pinkie held up a sprig of glittering mistletoe. Its larger than average silver-tinged leaves shimmered as if dusted with frost, and its crimson berries seemed to glow softly. Straight from the snowy tundra of Yakistan. Isn't it just perfect? And so sturdy. I carried it all the way home in my saddlebags, and it's completely intact for me to use as decoration over the counter. Twilight tilted her head, examining the sprig her friend held. It's unique. Are you sure it's safe to use? Yakistan flora can be pretty magical, and not always in a good way. Pinkie waved a hoof dismissively. Oh, it's fine. The Yak said it doesn't bother them at all. It grows all around their houses at this time of year. Plus, I carried a ton of it back and I'm fine. And look how cute it is. It's like Hearth's warming spirit in plant form. So much prettier than the plain old mistletoe we grow in Equestria. So the yaks. This grows all around them and it doesn't bother them. Twilight was still wary, but had to admit that Pinkie was right. It was indeed pretty, and mistletoe was a staple of Hearth's warming Eve traditions, and Pinkie was indeed fine. She had been back for a week and suffered no ill effects from her close contact with the plant. Pinkie is also a wild card though, right? And I brought enough to decorate your castle for Hearth's warming party. Pinkie gestured at the bulging saddlebag Twilight had come to collect so she could get started decorating. It's so super special, awesome of you to hold it in your castle this year, Twilight. Twilight smiled. Well, with all that room, it makes sense to hold it there instead of squashing every pony into Applejack's barn. Warmer, too. No matter how securely they rebuild that thing, the wall's always lit in cold air. Oh, I don't know if it's all that bad. Pinky winked at her. A little shivering is a good reason to snuggle up to some pony special, especially if that some pony happens to be under a sprig of mistletoe. She puckered her lips, making kissy noises that had Twilight rolling her eyes good-naturedly. Aw, come on, isn't there any pony you'd like to snuggle up with? Twilight bit her lip. No? I love it. I love it. Pinky's eyes widened. I knew it. Who is it? Come on, tell me. Oh, hey, look at the time. Twilight scooped up the sack of decorations and salad bags of mistletoe in her magical field. I really have to get going. You'll be open to customers soon and you won't need me getting in the way. Pinky stuck her tongue out. Spoil sport. Oh, it's so funny. I love it. The new mistletoe was hung with great pride above the cafe's counter. When he saw it, Mr. King promptly pulled his wife into a hug and kissed her soundly, making her blush and goggle like a bear half her age. As the day went on, ponies passing through could not resist stopping to admire the enormous sprig. Some even kissing their own special sun ponies under it. Pinky's enthusiasm for all things hearth-warming was infectious, and soon the entire town was abuzz with excitement for the hearth-warming party she and Twilight were planning. Yet by the end of the week, ponies began to whisper of strange happenings. Mrs. Cake was the first to fall ill, her normally cheery demeanor replaced by a pallid complexion and labored breathing. Her husband soon followed, leaving Pinkie Pie to take care of the twins on her own. Then it was Bon Bon, who collapsed in the middle of her candy shop floor, coughing up phlegm that looked like it was dusted with frost. Then Lyra Heartstrings fainted in the middle of the town square while galloping to the hospital to see her sick wife. By the time a dozen ponies had been hospitalized, the connection was clear. Every single one of them had visited Sugar Cube Corner and kissed some pony under the mistletoe above the counter. And each of the houses where the infected lived had sprouted fresh mistletoe with glowing red berries above their doors. Very fascinating. I actually really love that. See, it's also a holiday theme too, right? So that makes it even better. I love that it takes place during the Christmassy season. Hearth's Warming Eve. It's so neat. See, I wonder if... Oh, hear me out. I don't remember exactly during what time period this story was written out for, but I think Pinky is not sick because she has had no romantic relationships at this current time. Twilight paced the floor of her study, hooves clinking against the crystalline floor. Scrolls and books were strewn across her desk, open to pages detailing magical fungi, parasitic plants, and arcane remedies. Spike hovered nearby, scribbling notes as Twilight muttered half to him, half to herself. In the corner surrounded by her own pile of books, Starlight Glimmer snored, having fallen asleep after pulling an all-nighter trying to find out more about the Yak-Yakistani variant of mistletoe. Passage to Yak-Yakistan to ask Prince Rutherford. Oh my god. Rutherford. Oh, I can't talk. For more information was impossible. Now that the route was cut off by the yearly blizzards and all the Yak students at School of Friendship had long since gone home to evade that yearly event. Spike had tried sending letters until Twilight pointed out that the Yaks had no way of replying with the roads blocked. They were on their own. Magical spores, symbiotic growth patterns, resistance to healing magic. The sprig from Sugar Cube Corner didn't burn when Pinky tried that. Ugh! Twilight groaned and rubbed her temples. Nothing matches. This mistletoe doesn't behave like any plant I've read about. If I didn't know better, I'd say it's almost malicious. It is very malicious. We could ask Princess Celestia for help, Spike suggested cautiously. I already sent her a letter. She's consulting with the royal botanists, but even if they find something, it might take too long to synthesize an antidote and get it to... Oh my god, I'm talking way too quick now. And get it here to Ponyville. We're running out of time. Who knows what this infection could do if left unchecked? Twilight glanced at the map of Ponyville pinned to the wall. Red dots marked infected homes. The illness was spreading fast. There was no telling how far it may spread. If ponies who had visited Sugar Cube Corner went home and infected other ponies there, who then went on to infect other ponies? Who then... I actually love that. It's a constant thing. It just spreads. That's what the diseases do. They spread. You cough, then the next person gets it, then they transfer it. And then if you live in a household, everyone else gets it. It's a whole thing. I believe it's a spore. I think it's a spore. I think spore is pretty accurate here. Twilight shook her head to dislodge the thought spiral. There was nothing else for it. Safety precautions had to be taken. Also, I love the idea of just kind of marking each door, kind of like do not enter sort of thing, you know, just send some ponies house to house. Infected? Not infected. Good way to make certain. I'm going to put a shield spell around Ponyville, like my brother did around Canterlot before his wedding, so the infection can't get out. Until we find out a way to remedy it, the entire town is on lockdown. But Twilight, Spike started. No, Spike, I don't often do it, but I'm putting my hoof down as a princess of Equestria. Ponyville is officially under quarantine. Send a letter to Mare letting her know of my decision. Okay, but she won't be happy about it. A lot of ponies head out of town for Heartswarming Eve, and they'll be trapped inside the shield spell. She'll be even less happy if this illness gets out of the town with them. That's another thing also. Sorry, I know, I'm reading the story, I'm kind of rambling a lot. But, if, hear me, big if, the shield spell keeps everything in, would that hypothetically mean that if there were, say, spores or something, they would continue to spread throughout that giant globe, just keeping it all in there until eventually you get it? Don't know. Twilight headed up to the tallest tower in her castle, summoned all the power she could, and lit a pink bubble billow outward from her horn until it encased all of Ponyville. It used to take all her strength to cast this spell, but since becoming an alicorn, it required only a fraction of her power to cast and maintain. Satisfied that there were no gaps in her shield, she headed back to her study. Just as she arrived, however, the window slammed open and Rainbow Dash flew in, her mane wind blown and her face grim. Starlight Glimmer startled awake, and Spike let out a startled plume of green fire. Twilight, Dash panted. Sweet Apple Acres. Help. Spad. It's bad? A spad? Sorry, my slang's not great. Apple Acres helps bad. Rainbow Dash, take a breath, Twilight's heart sank. None of her friends had fallen ill yet. Was that about to change? What happened? Rainbow Dash took several deep breaths and pointed back out the window with one hoof. Big Mac's infected. He collapsed in the field this morning and is looking worse every minute since they got him home. Sugarbell's sick too, but worse and faster. Applejack says they need you. She doesn't know what to do since it all happened so fast. They were both fine this morning. Twilight's wings drooped. Okay, she steeled herself. She might not have had any miraculous breakthroughs in her search for a cure, but Applejack needed her. Twilight knew how hard it was for Applejack to ask any pony for help. That she had done so now was a testament to how desperate she was. Twilight could not let her down. Spike, keep working on the antidote research with Starlight. Rainbow, get Fluttershy and Rarity to help set up a quarantine zone around Sweet Apple Acres to keep rubberneckers away. I'll go to Applejack. That I have never heard that before. Yet, as she followed Dash out of the window, Twilight hesitated. The air was heavy with a strange sweet aroma, like burnt sugar and overripe berries. She shook her head and hurried to catch up with Dash, heart pounding. Snowflakes swirled lazily in the breeze of their passing, but something else drifted with them, almost invisible and unnoticed in their haste to go help their friend. Tiny, glimmering specks like frost dust. At Sweet Apple Acres, the scene was grim. Rows of apple trees stood bare, their branches weighed down by clusters of mistletoe that had seemingly sprung up overnight. Twilight gaped. This was not a few sprigs over a doorway like in town. The farmhouse windows were shuttered, and a crude quarantine sign had been nailed to the front door. Ponies milled about in the lane, seemingly drawn by morbid curiosity. I'll take care of the unwanted spectators, Dash growled. You go help Applejack, Twi. She changed course and all, but dive-bombed the onlookers. Hey, get out of here! Go home! Don't you know that stuff is dangerous? Don't get too close to it, you idiots! Straightforward and direct. I respect it. Applejack greeted Twilight at the farmhouse door, her hat pulled low and her face lined with exhaustion. Thanks for coming, Twi. I hate to ask, but I'm worried we're losing Sugarbell. She's deteriorating fast, so dang fast. And she dropped her voice to a low whisper. Something is growing out of her horn and her mouth. Ooh. Twilight's stomach churned, but she forced herself to nod. I'll do what I can for her. Thank you, Twilight. You're the best. Twilight tried to ignore the little fizzle of pleasure inside her at those words. Now was not the time for thoughts like that. As she had done many times before, she pushed them aside and focused on the task at hoof. Inside the farmhouse, the air was stifling, the sweet cloying smell that was stronger here, mingling with the faint coppery tang of blood. Big Mac lay on a makeshift cot in the living room, Bill chest heaving. Applejack was strong, but evidently she had not been able to lift him up the stairs. Sugarbelle was in the bedroom she usually shared with him, gasping amidst sweat-drenched sheets on her bed. Green tendrils coiled from her mouth and nostrils, their tips blooming into tiny clusters of glowing berries. Her eyes fluttered open briefly, meeting Twilight's with a look of silent pleading. At the top of her horn, white petals had unfurled. Twilight lit her own horn, scanning Sugarbelle's body with a diagnostic spell. The results made her chest tighten with alarm. The mistletoe. Pardon me. The mistletoe. I did. Oh god, the mistletoe wasn't just growing, it was merging with the unicorn's flesh, feeding off her life force and especially her magic. Applejack, Twilight began, but a sudden cry from outside cut her off. She turned just in time to see Rainbow Dash dart away from one of the pony onlookers in the lane. The stallion collapsed, body convulsing. Dash flew into the sky, hiding behind a cloud, as he, Twilight, and Applejack watched in horror. The stallion's midsection swelled grotesquely, skin writhing like it was full of snakes. Then his belly and chest burst open, coils of mistletoe bursting outward in a spray of vines, blood and viscera. The other ponies around them screamed and fled, but Twilight knew it was already too late. A huge burst of sparkling dust had also erupted from the dead pony, along with the vines. Spores! And they were everywhere. I love it. I freaking love it. I got interrupted by a phone call reading this. Oh man, that is so good. It's so good. I can't wait for us to actually, watch the video. By the time Twilight returned to her castle, night had fallen. Ponyville was no longer the cheerful town she loved. The streets were deserted except for the faint movements of infected ponies stumbling aimlessly, vines and berries sprouting from their bodies like monstrous heartwarming decorations. Every window was secured, every door locked tight. The only light came from the mistletoe itself. Red berries glowing faintly in the dark, glittering spores coated everything. Twilight maintained the magical shield with which she had coated her entire body, dashed into the castle and slammed the door shut behind her. She leaned against them. Trembling Spike ran up, eyes wide with worry. Twilight, are you okay? He already knew everything she did, thanks to her missive teleported to him. I feel dumb. I don't think I can spell I feel so confounded. Missive teleported to him from Sweet Apple Acres. How are Sugarbelle and Big Mac? I'm blanking. This threw me off so bad. Perhaps I just don't know how to pronounce stuff. I'm fine, she lied, and they're both alive, but it's worse than I thought. The mistletoe's spreading faster than we can contain it. Even if I can't find a cure, I need to work on a counterspell to hold it back before it infects and kills everyone in Ponyville. There's no time to lose. Her friends were gathered in the map room, faces grim. Pinkie Pie sat in the corner, uncharacteristically silent, hugging Pound and Pumpkin Cake to her chest. Rarity paced anxiously while Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash whispered quietly to each other. Starlight stared fixedly at a teacup for some reason Twilight could not fathom. They all looked up at her entrance. Any progress? Twilight asked. Rarity shook her head. We've done everything we can to warn ponies to stay indoors, but I don't think it's enough. There's too much panic and too many are already infected, and the mistletoe is spreading faster than I would have thought possible if I had not seen it for myself. She took a steadying breath. I'm so grateful my family were already in Manhattan visiting relatives for the holidays. I've told them not to come home until they get word that it's safe. They're worried about me, but, well, Cloudsdale isn't infected, Rainbow Dash added after Rarity trailed off. Yet they've created a protective cloud layer to keep the spores out, though. That's good. That's good. That is good. That's good. That's a good thing. But what if some spores got into the rain clouds? Fluttershy asked. Won't they be transported all over Equestria? Not if I can make a counterspell to neutralize them, Twilight said grimly. Now that I know that's how the infection is spreading, I have a basis to work from. At least my shield spell over the town is holding. It'll keep the spores from getting further than the borders of Ponyville. Fluttershy's voice was barely audible.
Twilight, what happens if we can't stop it? What if it's already out there?
Twilight did not answer. She did not need to. The dire truth was written all over her face. I'll find a way, she said finally. I have to. I'm going to cast the shield spell now. You all stay here where it's safe. I've hermetically sealed the room so no spores can get in. Don't let anyone aside from me in or out until I tell you it's safe. Strong words. Her friends nodded. Though the tension in the room was palpable, Twilight retreated to her study, the weight of the world pressing down on her. It's all up to Twilight. It really is right now. That's good. It's good to know that Cloudsdale is fine. I wonder how that would work, right? Would the obviously the infected kind of do a thing where they explode a little bit, but I wonder if how that would work on a cloud-based system, kind of. I don't know. Interesting. Hours passed as Twilight pored over botany texts and magical formulas, quill scratching furiously. Her study was silent except for the occasional crackle of the fireplace and the buzz of her horn powering the shield spell. The clock ticked ominously, each second reminding her how little time she had to fix this problem. A knock on her study door startled her. She was specifically told her friends not to leave the map room. Come in, she called without looking up. It was probably Spike. She had not eaten or drank anything in a long while, and his desire to help her sometimes outweighed his desire to follow her instructions. He was her #1 assistant for a reason, after all. The study door creaked open. Instead of dragon claws, she heard hoofsteps behind her. Twilight turned and blinked in surprise. Applejack, what are you doing here? I thought you were staying at Sweet Apple Acres with your family. Applejack stood in the doorway, her hat clutched in her hooves. Her mane was disheveled and her eyes shimmered with something Twilight couldn't quite place. Desperation? Sorrow? Guilt? I needed to see you. Applejack's voice was tremulous. She swallowed, said her voice low. Big Mac. Twilight's ribcage changed into a bear trap around her lugs. Oh no. Is he? Applejack squeezed her eyes shut and nodded. Sugarbelle too, just like that stallion in the lane. Sweet Celestia, Applejack, I'm so sorry. They were reaching for each other as they died. She got out of bed and crawled downstairs when she felt it coming. She didn't want to be without him in her last moments. Oh, that is grim. That is horribly depressing. Even more traumatic, probably, during that little scenario. Twilight frowned. You were in the room with them? Applejack, you shouldn't have... I know, Applejack interrupted. My nephew got away from me and ran in to see his parents. I chased him, but I didn't get him out in time. She took a step closer, her voice trembling. Twilight, I need to say something. I might not get another chance. Twilight's blood turned to ice. Not another chance? I've been thinking about this for a long time. Seeing Big Mac and Sugarbelle at the end like that, I can't keep it in anymore, Twilight sparkled. I'm in love with you. Ooh, Lord Bob. I love it. I love it. The words hung in the air, heavy and bittersweet. Twilight's eyes widened, mind racing. She had hoped in her most secret heart of hearts, but had never wanted to risk their friendship by even entertaining the idea. This is making me giddy. I'm a sucker. I love it. Before she could respond, Applejack closed the distance between them and kissed her. Look at that. No, Twilight. Don't say anything. Just let it happen. Just shh. It happened so fast that Twilight's mind short-circuited for a moment. All she could feel was the warmth of Applejack's lips and the feel of Applejack's hoof against her cheek. The sight of Applejack's green eyes closing to savor the kiss. For one sweet shining moment, Twilight lost herself in the press of the other mare's mouth, in the what could have beens. But then,
A strange tingling sensation curled through her mouth like a dozen tiny cold tongues unfurling against her teeth and palate. One reached down her throat, and Twilight broke the kiss to pull back, coughing violently. Applejack, what? That's when she saw it. Tiny green tendrils were already beginning to sprout from Applejack's lips and nostrils. Her eyes were bloodshot, and her breathing was labored. Now that she had stepped into the firelight, Twilight could see that her whole body was covered in dried blood and glittering spores. I love it. I'm sorry, Applejack choked out, tears streamed down her face, but it's too late. It's too late for all of us. We're already dead. There ain't no cure that'll save us, so I had to see you one last time. I couldn't have died without telling you that I... Applejack's body convulsed. She collapsed onto her side with a terrible groan. Blood that looked like it was dusted with frost seeped from her nose and tear ducts. Applejack! Vines erupted from the earth pony's chest and stomach, wrapping around her like a blood-soaked cocoon. Twilight screamed as she was thrown back, shielding herself with a magical barrier. Leaves, white petals, and glowing red berries butted up against her shield as if trying to pry it open. I'm sorry, pry it away to get at her. Sometimes the mind kind of goes on autopilot. You get it, you know how it is. Applejack's wide, staring eyes disappeared from view. When the chaos subsided, all that was left was a tangled mess of gore-spattered mistletoe, berries glowing faintly in the dimness of Twilight's study. Twilight staggered to her hoofs. Applejack, no, she whispered, her voice cracking. No, I'm not doing that. My voice will crack. Hers might not, but mine will. Molding her shield spell around her body, she rushed to the mirror over the fireplace and opened her mouth. Inside, she could already see the tiny vines coiling around her tongue, their tips blooming into minuscule red berries. The mistletoe worked faster on ponies with magic, and she had more magic than anyone else in Ponyville. Panic surged through her. She had spent days trying to find a cure or counterspell, but now it was too late. The spores were inside her, feasting on her flesh, supercharged by her magical life force. She knew what would come next. Twilight sank to the floor, tears streaming down her cheeks. She thought of her friends waiting in the map room to hear good news from her. She thought of Applejack's final words and the look in her eyes before the end. Applejack had known it was already too late, and she was right. Twilight's chest tightened. It had been too late from the moment Pinkie Pie brought that damned mistletoe back with her. Of course, it did not affect Yaks negatively. They didn't have nearly enough magic in them to trigger its worst effects. Ponies, however. Quickly, she fetched a sheaf of parchment and began to write. Applejack really just gave Twilight a middle finger and just said, you know what? I'm going to die, and so are you. It's like that little, I don't want to be kissing someone and then just have like plant fibers kind of go down my throat and crud. No, I'm not. No, I'm good. I don't want to think about it anymore. I don't want to think about it. Ugh. It's disgusting. That is such a gross infection vector, but it's kind of cool. It's cool what they did. Scribbler, what you did was cool. Heartswarming eve dawned cold and still. The castle of friendship stood silent, completely shrouded in vines. Mistletoe hung from every corner, crimson berries glowing like macabre holiday lights. In the map room, 8 cocoons lay where 5 ponies, 2 foals, and 1 dragon had fallen. The map table was spattered with so much red, it looked like it had been decorated too. In Princess Twilight's sparkle study, the fire had burned out. A letter lay on the table. Dear Princess Celestia, by the time you read this, it may already be too late for me. The spores have taken hold and I know what's coming. I've watched it happen. I'm not afraid to die, but I am afraid of what will happen if the infection spreads beyond Ponyville. Unless you have found a cure for the infection, it's too late for this town and the ponies in it. The mistletoe The mistletoe spores are unlike anything we've ever faced. They thrive on warmth and magic, feeding on the very essence of life. The more magical a host, the faster they work. They don't stop, they don't relent, and they've already claimed so many. Even now, as I write this, I can feel them growing inside me. I don't have much time, so I must be brief. I've placed a protective shield around the town. holding back the infected vines and spores as best I can. But the spell is tied to my magic. When I die, it will fail. When that happens, there will be nothing to stop the spores from escaping into the winds and spreading across Equestria. I will hold on as long as I can, but I don't know how long that will be. You must act swiftly, Princess. When my shield drops, I beg you, use your magic to destroy Ponyville. Leave no trace of the town, the castle, or the mistletoe. Annihilate it all and salt the ground. The lives of so many depend on containing this infection here, no matter the cost. I know what I'm asking of you. Ponyville has always been a place of love, friendship, and hope. It's where I've grown, where I've laughed, and where I've lived some of the happiest days of my life. And I think it might have been more had things been different. But if destroying it means saving the rest of Equestria, then I accept that fate. I'm sorry I couldn't save my friends. Please commemorate them. They didn't ask for this, but they'll pay the price for it along with the rest of the town. I'm not able to ask them, but I'm sure they would agree with my request of you. Thank you, Princess, for everything, for trusting me, for guiding me, and for teaching me what it means to be a leader. I hope that in my death, I can do one last bit of good in this world. Please don't hesitate. The moment my magic fades and Ponyville is revealed, you must act with precision, speed, and lethal force. Promise me that you will. Your faithful student eternally, Twilight Sparkle. Beside the desk lay a tangle of vines studded with mistletoe. Twilight had tried until the end to do the right thing. She had fought with every atom of her being, but it had not been enough. The mistletoe had taken too much of her by the time she tried to send the letter. White petals bloomed from the tip of her glowing horn, snuffing out the last of her alicorn magic. Outside, the shield around Ponyville flickered and died. The wind howled, carrying tiny silver spores that looked like dustings of frost far beyond Ponyville, across the empty sky. Hearth-warming Eve would never be the same ever again.
Bravo! I freaking love that story so much. That is such a fun story. Mistletoe Mourning. God, hold on. For the sake of everything, let's get a close-up. Let's get a close-up here. Oh my god, that is detailed. I love it. I freaking love it. That is nuts. That's so crazy. Oh my god, it's so wild. But yeah, next we are going to watch the audio drama. I'm not sure. I'll have to formulate some thoughts before I start that one and write it down on a notepad real quickly, and then talk about it when we get to the end of the video here. But yeah, we're just gonna jump to it. Okie dokie. So here we are on Scribbler's YouTube video. We are watching the audio drama production. And I'm just gonna kind of let the video run. I think I'm gonna save any thoughts I have or comments for the end of the video, kind of when they roll the credits type of thing. So I'm just gonna kind of let it run. I might type stuff up on the side so I can kind of just keep my thoughts all together in one place as we go through this. But yeah, if you folks haven't checked out Scribbler's YouTube channel, you definitely should. I don't know how you couldn't have, but like, there's a lot of good stuff on there. A lot of good audio dramas you can listen to and fall asleep to, if that's your thing also. This video was supposed to come out on Friday 13th. Please pretend it did. All right, yes, Friday 13th, exactly. Ooh, good music. Good music choice. I love it. I love it. I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker. I got it.
The first flakes of snow had fallen over Ponyville,
Derpy!
blanketing its colourful cottages in soft white powder. Hearth-warming decorations adorned every street. Strings of fairy lights, wreaths on doors, ornaments of all shapes and sizes. Sugar Cube Corner was no exception.
It's a Scribbler.
Its gingerbread-like facade practically glowed with festive charm. Inside, Pinkie Pie was a whirlwind of holiday cheer. She zipped back and forth, hanging garlands and arranging desserts with her usual exuberance. But this year, the centerpiece of her
she
display
doesn't know.
was something special that she had brought back from her latest
Pinkie,
adventure.
no!
Pinky held up a sprig of glittering mistletoe.
Oh god.
Its larger than average silver-tinged leaves
Big things have small
shimmered
beginnings.
as if dusted with frost, and its crimson berries seemed to glow softly.
I love it.
Straight from the snowy tundra of Yakyakstan. Isn't it just perfect? And so sturdy. I carried it all the way home in my saddlebags, and it's completely intact for me to use it as decoration over the counter.
Oh my god. Pinky,
Twilight
Pinky,
tilted her
put it
head,
down.
examining the sprig her friend held. It's unique. Are you sure it's safe to use? Yakistan flora can be pretty magical, and not always in a good way.
Ooh.
Pinky waved
Twilight knew from the
dismissively.
start.
It's fine. The
Oh,
accident doesn't bother
no.
them at all. It grows all around their houses at this time of year. Plus,
Invasive.
I carried a ton of it back, and I'm fine. And look how cute it is. It's like Harsming Spirit in plant form. So much prettier than the plain old mistletoe we grow in Equestria.
Ooh.
Twilight was still wary,
Concerned.
but had to admit that Pinky was right. It was indeed pretty, and mistletoe was a staple of Hearthwarming Eve traditions.
Mm-hmm.
And Pinky was indeed fine. She had been back for a week and suffered no ill effects from her close contact
Pinky,
with the light.
how?
And I brought
Why?
it out to decorate your castle for
Dear
our
God.
party.
Pinky gestured at the bulging saddlebag that Twilight had come to collect so that she could get started decorating.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. I tried to pause it at a good time. Makes me wonder, though, right? I recall reading when we were doing the reading earlier. I know I said I would probably save comments for the end. That's going to be hard to do. I'm going to forget so much. But if you think about it, though, like all the yaks left, right? I wonder if any of the yaks at the School of Friendship are remotely aware on the effects that there has on ponies. Somebody must have a clue on what that plant can do to ponies. Somebody has to know. Some pony has to know. It's very interesting to think about.
It's so super special awesome of you to
They
have
all
it
just
in your
happen to
castle
have
this
left
year,
at the
Twilight.
wrong time.
Twilight smiled. Well, with all that room, it makes sense to hold it there instead of squashing every pony into Applejack's barn. Warmer, too. No matter how securely they rebuild that thing, the walls always let in cold air.
That's
I don't
true.
think it's all that bad.
Pinky winked at her.
A little shivering is a good reason to snuggle up to some pony special.
Ooh.
Especially if that some pony happens to be under a sprig of mistletoe.
I love
She
it.
puckered her
Love that
lips,
high note.
making kissy
So good.
noises that had Twilight rolling her
Pinky.
eyes good-naturedly.
Oh, love it.
Come on. Is there any pony you'd like to snuggle up with?
Twilight bit her lip.
Sorry, another pause. I know it's only been a minute and I'm already pausing. But like, I think the mistletoe has a little effect to it that makes you, as we saw with Applejack, a little bit impulsive, you know? A little bit more romantical tension in the air.
No.
And it
Pinky's
makes you
eyes
do things you
widened.
wouldn't normally do.
Who is it?
I know it's airborne too, but
Tell me.
Oh, hey,
I think there's a
look at
side
the
effect
time.
to it.
Twilight
Look at the
scooped
time!
up the
Twilight's
sack of
getting out of there.
decorations And the saddlebag of mistletoe.
I don't
in
blame her.
Magical field. I really have to get going. You'll be open to customers soon, and you won't need me getting in the way. Pinky stuck out her tongue.
Spoil sport.
Spoiled sport. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Oh, I should have just waited. God dang it. I was so close.
The new
Ah,
mistletoe was hung with great pride above the cafe's counter. When he saw it, Mr. Cake promptly pulled his wife.
this
into
is what I'm
arms
talking
and
about.
kissed her soundly,
It's got like an
making her
effect to
blush
it.
and goggle like a mare
Although it
half
is a
her age.
mistletoe, so.
As the day went on, ponies passing through could not resist stopping to admire the enormous sprig. Some
Got a
even
grin on my
kissing their
face.
own special sun ponies underneath it.
That's how it spreads.
Pinky's enthusiasm for all things hearthwarming was infectious, and soon
Yes.
the entire town was abuzz with excitement
Yes.
for the hearthwarming party that she and Twilight were planning.
I didn't
Yet,
cover over 100
by the end
AUs
of
if
the
this
week,
isn't what I loved.
Ponies began to whisper of strange happenings. Mrs. Cake was the first to fall ill.
Oh no.
Her normally cheerful demeanor replaced
the
by a
white
pallid
flakes.
complexion and labored breathing. Her husband soon followed, leaving Pinkie Pie to take care of the twins on her own.
Oh god, the
Then it
twins.
was Bonbon,
Oh
who
no.
collapsed in the middle of her candy shop floor, coughing up phlegm
Oh.
that looked like it was dusted with frost.
Oh.
Then Lyra Heartstrings fainted
Oh,
in the
dear
middle of
God.
the town square while galloping to the hospital to see her sick wife. By the time a dozen
It
ponies
spread
had
so
been
quick.
hospitalized, the
Yo, Lost
connection
in
was
Meg.
clear. Every single one of them had visited Sugar Cube Corner and kissed some pony under the mistletoe. And each of the houses where the infected lived had sprouted fresh
Oh my
mistletoe
God.
with glowing
Oh, I
orange
love that.
berries
I love that
above
fade
their
out though.
doors.
Oh, that's so pretty. That's a good image. I like that image right there. That was very well done.
Twilight paced the floor of her study, hooves clinking against the crystalline floor. Scrolls and books were strewn across her desk, open to pages detailing magical fungi, parasitic plants, and arcane remedies. Spike hovered nearby, scribbling notes as Twilight muttered, half to him, half to herself. In the corner, surrounded by her own pile of books, Starlight Glimmer snored, having fallen asleep after pulling an all-nighter, trying to find out more about the Yak-Yakistani mistletoe variant. Passage to Yak-Yakistan to ask Prince Rutherford for more information was impossible now that the route was cut off by the yearly blizzards.
Uh-oh.
And all the Yak students of the School of Friendship had long since gone home.
Yeah, they all
to
left,
evade
so
that yearly
obviously
event.
they couldn't help.
Spike had tried sending letters until Twilight pointed out that the Yaks had no way of replying with the roads blocked. They were on their own.
That's interesting to think if the Yaks ever knew from the beginning what this can do to them.
Resistance to healing magic.
Pretty art.
The sprig from Sugar Cube Corner didn't burn when Pinkie tried that.
Ooh, that is weird.
Ah! Twilight groaned and rubbed her temples. Nothing matches. The mistletoe doesn't behave like any plant I've read about. If I didn't know better, I'd say
Starlight,
it's almost
just sleeping.
malicious.
We can ask Princess Celestia for help.
Spike suggested cautiously.
I
I
love
already
Spike.
sent
He's
her a
such an
letter.
awesome character.
She's consulting with the royal botanists. But even if they find something, it might take too long to synthesize an antidote, and getting here to Ponyville, we're running out of time. Who knows what this infection could do if left unchecked?
Yeah.
Twilight glanced at
Oh
the
my
map of
God,
Ponyville
wow.
onto the wall. Red dots marked infected
Oh
homes.
dear. Oh, holy
The
cow.
illness was spreading fast.
Oh, sorry. I don't want to cut you off, but like, oh, wow. This is something I have to like literally analyze. Does not burn. The mistletoe does not burn. That is crazy. Look at that. It is. And all these houses are being overrun by the mistletoe itself, which then releases its spores into the neighboring area. I wonder, right? Even if Twilight did have the force shield or whatever, the bubble up, I wonder if it would root underground, because it is a plant. If it would creep its way underground, spread outside of the magical barrier, if that's even possible. It's interesting. Red, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I can't exactly read that. Infected. I love it. It's so cool. What a cool concept.
There was no telling how far it may spread, or what the end stages might be. If ponies who had visited Sugar Cube Corner went home and infected other ponies there, who then went on to infect other ponies, who then... Twilight shook her head to dislodge the thought spiral. There was nothing else for it. Safety precautions had to be taken.
Yeah, if you can't
I'm
burn
going
it,
to
what
put a
can you
shield
do?
Spell around Ponyville, like my brother did around Canterlot before his wedding, so the
Understandable.
infection can't get out.
Yep.
Until we find out a way to remedy it, the entire town is on lockdown.
But Twilight,
No, Spike. I don't often
Spike
do it,
got shut
but
down.
I'm putting my hoof down as a princess of Equestria. Ponyville is officially under quarantine.
Hey,
Send a
you
letter
know
to
what?
Mayor
That's a
Mayor,
good
letting her
thing.
know of
I'm
my
glad
decision.
she's doing that now and taking
okay.
advantage of the
But you won't
moment
be happy
before
about
it
it.
gets way out
A
of
lot
hand.
ponies head out
That's
of town for
respectable to
Heartstorm
me.
Eve, and they'll be trapped inside the shield spell.
Well,
She'll be
it's
even
either
less
that or
happy
you
if
can
this
doom the
illness
rest
gets
of
out town
Equestria.
with them.
Exactly.
Twilight headed
A small
up to the
price to
tallest
pay.
tower in her castle, summoned all the power she could, and let a pink bubble billow outward from her horn until it encased all.
Oh,
of
it's so
Ponyville.
crazy. Oh, it's so pretty.
It used to take all her strength to cast this spell, but since becoming an alicorn, it required only a fraction of her power to cast and maintain.
Sorry, see, my thought is, right, does the bubble kind of just stop at the ground level, or does it kind of like mystically kind of traverse underground too, right? Because if it grows and spreads underneath the bubble, kind of like a fishhook kind of thing, it's like, shoot, dude, we're in trouble. I think the Pegasi probably stand the best chance, and maybe when summertime comes around, this disease will go away.
Satisfied that there were no gaps in her shield, she headed back to her study. Just as she arrived, however, the window slammed open.
Also, music choice
and
is
Rainbow
awesome. I
Dash
love it.
Flew in, her mane wind blown, and her face grim.
Oh, frick. Oh.
Starlight Glimmer startled awake, and Spike let
Hi,
out a
Rainbow.
surprised plume of green fire.
Sweet Apple Acres. Help.
What happened?
It's bad.
It's.
Rainbow
I bet it
Dash,
is.
Take a breath. Twilight's heart sank. None of her friends had fallen ill yet. Was that about to change? What happened? Rainbow Dash
I don't
took
want to know.
several deep breaths
I know.
and
I don't
pointed
want
back
to.
out the window with one hoof.
Big Mac's infected.
Oh,
He
God, no.
collapsed in the field this morning.
Nope.
He's been looking worse by the minute since they got him home.
He's so dead. Oh my God, no.
Sick too,
No.
but worse and faster.
So
Jack
it's
says
spreading
it's
faster for
immediate.
them.
She doesn't know what to do since it's all happened so fast.
Right.
They were both fine this morning.
Twilight's wings
God,
drooped.
what does the hospital system even do in this scenario?
She steeled herself. She might not have
This
had
is a
any
rapidly
miraculous
moving thing.
breakthroughs in her search for a cure, but Applejack needed her.
Uh-huh.
Twilight knew how hard it was for Applejack to ask any pony for help. That she had done so now was testament to how desperate she was. Twilight could not let her down.
Good luck,
Spike?
Twi.
Keep working on the antidote research with Starlight. Rainbow, get Fluttershy and Rarity
Oh my
to help
God.
set up a quarantine
I love the
zone
music.
around Sweet Apple Acres to keep rubberneckers away. I'll go help Applejack. Yet, as she followed Dash out of the window, Twilight hesitated. The air outside was heavy with a strange, sweet aroma.
So it's
like
already
burnt
there.
sugar and overripe
It's
berries.
already spreading.
She shook her head and hurried to catch up with Dash, heart pounding. Applejack needed her. She could not fail. She could not be late. She had to help her friend. Snowflakes swirled lazily in the
Or
breeze
are
above
they
her
snowflakes?
But something else drifted with them,
Ooh.
almost invisible and unnoticed in the two
Yes.
ponies' haste to go and help their friend. Tiny, glimmering specks, like frost dust on the breeze.
Oh, I love it. See, the thing is, I really love the music. The music is Christmas themed, right? But like, it's done. Scribbler used it in just such a way that it follows when there's tension and rising kind of stuff, rising action and stuff. It flows with the story very well. It's very nice. I'm not a critic by any means. I'm just kind of like spitballing everything I pretty much do here. But like, oh, it just sounds so good if you just kind of just like listen to it just casually.
It's heavy with a strange,
It's still Christmas
sweet
theme,
aroma, like burnt sugar.
but it
and
just
overripe
fits
berries.
it fits the
She
scene.
shook her head
It
and
it's
hurried
it
to
just
catch up with
fits.
Dash, heart pounding. Applejack needed her. She could not fail. She could not be late. She had
And it's
to help
10 times
her
better
friend.
because it's a Christmas theme
Snowflakes
story.
swirled lazily
Hearts-
in the breeze
hearts
of their
warming.
passing. But something else drifted with them.
Yep. The
almost
spores.
invisible and unnoticed
Yes.
in the two ponies' haste to go and help their
God, I
friend.
love it.
Tiny, glimmering specks,
Yes.
like frost dust.
Yes.
on the
Oh,
breeze.
it's so good. Oh my God. See, it's good. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm just a sucker. I'm a sucker. I can't help it. The idea of it is just so like I love AUs, right? I love the
scene
infection
was
stuff.
grim. Rows of apple trees stood bare of fruit or leaves, their branches weighed down instead by clusters of mistletoe that had seemingly sprung up overnight.
Oh no, Derpy.
Twilight gaped. This was not the few sprigs over doorways like in town. The farmhouse windows were shuttered, and a crude quarantine sign had been nailed to the front door.
Ooh, there's a lot of
Ponies
trees.
milled about in the lane,
Gosh, this thing's
seemingly
spreading quick.
drawn by morbid curiosity.
I'll take care of the unwanted spectators.
Dash growled.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
Applejack, Twy.
She changed course and all but dive bombed the onlookers.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you know that stuff is dangerous?
No, they're
Don't get too close to it,
too
you
ignorant.
idiots.
You idiots.
Applejack greeted Twilight at the farmhouse door, her hat pulled low and her face lined with exhaustion.
Thanks for coming, Twy.
This is just random, right? I like how the mistletoe kind of blends in with the snow itself, but like now I'm getting ideas like what if the snow itself, you know, like the snow raining down from the sky itself was the source of the outbreak. You know, you go outside, you get a cold, it's not a normal cold.
Hate to ask, but
You came in contact
I'm
with that white
worried
powder
we're losing
outside.
Sugar Belle.
No, sugar!
She's deteriorating so
Aw.
dang fast,
Sorry, AJ.
and
She dropped her voice to a low whisper.
something is growing out of her
Ugh.
horn. Man,
Twilight's stomach churned, but she forced herself to nod.
Yeah.
I'll do what I can for her.
thank you, Twilight. You're the best.
Twilight tried to ignore the little fizzle of pleasure inside her at those words. Now was not the time for thoughts like that.
Dude. Oh,
As she had
God.
done so many times before, she pushed them aside and focused instead on the task at hoof. Inside the farmhouse, the air was stifling. The same sweet,
Oh, God.
cloying smell was stronger here, mingling with the faint coppery tang of blood. Big Mac lay on a makeshift cot in the living
Nope.
room, barrel chest heaving. Applejack was strong, but evidently she had not been able to lift him up the
Poor
stairs.
guy. Hang in there, big man.
Sugar Belle was in the bedroom
Nope.
she usually shared with him, gasping amid sweat-drenched sheets.
Ugh.
Green tendrils
Oh! Oh, dear
coiled from
God!
her mouth and nostrils, their tips blooming
Oh!
to tiny
Oh, my God. Oh,
clusters
that's horrible.
of glowing
Oh, it's like
red
little worms are
berries.
crawling there.
Her eyes fluttered open briefly.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my
meeting
God.
Twilight's
Oh, kill
with a
me.
look
Oh,
of
my God.
silent
I don't want to
pleading.
live like that.
At the tip of her horn,
I don't want
white
plants
petals
bursting out of me like
had
that.
unfurled. Twilight lit her own horn, scanning Sugar Belle's body with a diagnostic spell. The results made her chest tighten with alarm.
Yeah, same here. I'm
The
just looking at
mistletoe
it.
wasn't just growing. It was merging with the
Ooh.
unicorn's flesh,
Ooh.
feeding off her life force,
Oh, fun.
and especially her magic.
Oh.
Applejack, I... Twilight began.
Yeah, I
but a
can't help
sudden
you.
cry from
I
outside
can't help
cut
you,
her off.
AJ. Oh, frick. Oh, that's a fun sound. Love to
She
hear it.
turned and looked out the window just in time to see Rainbow Dash dart away from one of the pony onlookers in the lane.
Oh, God.
The stallion
Oh,
collapsed,
God.
body convulsing. Dash flew into the sky, hiding behind a cloud.
The
As
biggest grin
she,
on my face. Oh,
Twilight and Applejack watched in
dear
horror.
God, dear God.
The stallion's midsection
Ooh.
swelled grotesquely, skin writhing like it was full of snakes.
Yup, yup.
Then his belly and chest
Ugh.
burst
Oh, it's so
open,
bad.
coils of mistletoe
Oh, my
exploding
God.
out in a spray of vines, blood,
Oh,
and
it's so
sweat.
cool.
The ponies around him screamed
Oh,
and
my
fled,
God.
but Twilight knew
Oh, that's horrible.
it was already too
That could
late.
be you at any moment.
A huge burst of sparkling
Oh,
dust had
frick.
also
Oh, my
erupted
God.
from the dead pony, along with the
I don't have
vines.
words. Words cannot describe it.
Spores.
Oh, my God. That is horrible. Knowing at a moment's notice you could... And then suddenly... Oh, horrible.
By the time
Horrible.
Twilight returned to her castle,
I love it.
night had fallen. Ponyville was no longer the cheerful town she loved. The streets were deserted, except for the faint movements of infected ponies stumbling
Oh,
aimlessly.
dear Lord.
Vines and berries sprouting from their bodies like
Oh,
monstrous
that's so
heartwarming
depressing.
decorations. Every window was secured, every
Oh.
door locked tight.
Oh,
The
that's.
only
Oh,
light came
God.
from her shield overhead.
Oh, that's
and the
terrible. That's
mistletoe
terrible.
itself,
I love
the
it.
red berries glowing
It's that
faintly.
little part of the apocalypse
Glittering
that's like.
spores
just
coated
wow.
everything. Twilight maintained the magical shield
They're
with which she had
alive.
coated her entire body, dashing into the castle and slamming the doors shut behind her.
I don't want to imagine the
Leaned
feeling
against
of
them,
that coming out of my eye, like
Spike
around
ran
my
up,
eye socket
eyes
and
wide
out of my
with worry.
ear and stuff.
Twilight,
No,
are you
thank
okay?
you.
He already knew everything she did.
I'm sorry,
thanks to her
Spike.
missive
Don't go outside.
Teleported to him from Sweet Apple Acres.
How are Sugar Belle and Big Mac?
I'm fine. She
Don't
lied.
go out there, Spike.
And they're both alive. But it's worse than I thought. The mistletoe's spreading faster than we can contain it. Even if I can't find a cure, I need to work on a counterspell to hold it back before it infects and kills
Poor
everyone in
Twy.
Ponyville. There's no time to lose.
The weight's on her
Friends were
shoulders,
gathered in the
too.
map room, faces grim. Pinkie Pie sat in the corner, uncharacteristically silent. Rarity paced anxiously, while Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash whispered quietly to each other. Starlight stared fixedly at a teacup for some reason Twilight could not fathom. They all looked up at her entrance. Any progress? Rarity shook her head.
We've done everything we can to warn ponies to stay indoors, but I don't think it's enough. There's too much panic and too many are already infected. And the mistletoe is spreading faster than I would have thought possible had I not seen it for myself.
She took a steadying breath.
God.
I'm so grateful my family
I'm-
are already in Maine
wow.
visiting relatives for the holidays.
I'm
I told the kids
speechless.
to come home until they get word that it's safe.
Dude, don't.
Worried about me,
Don't
but-
come back. Don't come to Ponyville. Stay away.
Still isn't infected.
Rainbow Dash added
Okay.
after Rarity trailed off.
They've created a protective cloud layer to keep the spores out, though.
That's good.
That's good, right? But
What if
can
some
they
of the
help
spores got
more?
into the rain clouds?
Ooh.
Fluttershy
I
asked.
think that would kill
Won't
it.
they be transported all over Equestria?
Not if I can make a counterspell to neutralize them. Now that I know that's how the infection is spreading, I have a basis to work from. At least my shield spell over the town is holding. It will keep the spores from getting further than the borders of Ponyville. Fluttershy's voice was barely audible.
Twilight, what happens if...
Don't
we
think about it,
can't stop
Fluttershy. Don't think about it.
What if it's already out there?
Dear Lord.
Twilight
Then we are already
did not
lost.
answer at first. She did not need to. The dire truth was written all
Oh,
over her
God.
face.
Oh, I love it.
I'll find a way, she said finally.
Ooh,
I have to.
ominous.
You all stay in here where it's safe. I'm hermetically sealing the room so no spores can get in.
Unless they're already
Don't
in.
let anyone aside
Dun, dun,
from
dun.
me in or out until I tell you it's safe. Her friends nodded, though the tension in the
Guessing
room was
Pinkie
palpable.
Pie's already gone then.
Twilight retreated to her study.
Did we see her? I
It
don't
felt
think.
like the weight of
I
the
don't know.
world was pressing down on her.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I gotta pause real quickly. I want to see if Pinkie was here with them real quickly. A little bit more. Sorry about that. Oh, Pinkie is okay. Okay. Sorry. Let's just.
What if some of the spores got into
That's
the rain
too
cloud?
far. There
Tell
we
you
go.
it's safe. Twilight retreated to her study.
Sorry about that. I had
Felt like
to
the weight
see
of
for
the world
myself.
Was pressing
Because
down
I
on her.
remember in the story, I don't think it mentioned anything about Pinkie after she went to go take care of the cakes. And she doesn't have the cakes with her
Hours
right now.
passed.
That's not good.
Twilight pored over botany texts and magical formulas. Quill scratching furiously. Her study was silent, except for the occasional crackle of the fireplace and the buzz of her horn. The clock ticked ominously, each second reminding her how little time she had to fix this problem.
That is very
A
depressing,
knock on the
but
study
very
door
real.
startled her. She had specifically told her friends not to leave the map room.
Come in.
She called without looking up. It was probably Spike. She had not eaten or drunk anything in a long while, and his desire to help her sometimes outweighed his desire to follow instructions. He was her number one assistant for a reason, after all. The study door creaked open. Instead of dragon claws, she heard hoofsteps behind her. Twilight turned and blinked in surprise.
Applejack, what are you doing here? I thought you were staying at Sweet Apple Acres with your family.
Who let her in?
Applejack stood in the doorway, her hat clutched in her hooves. Her mane was disheveled, and her eyes shimmered with something Twilight could not quite place. Desperation, sorrow, guilt?
I needed to see you.
Applejack's voice was tremulous. She swallowed.
Big Mac.
Twilight's ribcage changed into a bear trap around her lungs.
Oh no. Is he?
Applejack squeezed
Yikes,
her
that's not the
eyes
news
shut
you want to hear, dude.
and nodded.
Sugar
Yep.
Belle too.
Ugh.
Just like that stallion in the lane.
Dang,
Sweet
that's
Celeste.
depressing, really.
Applejack, I'm so sorry.
Twilight frowned.
You were in the room with them? Applejack, you shouldn't
I
have.
know. My nephew got away from me and ran to see his parents.
Probably for the
I chased
best.
him, but I didn't get him out in time.
Oh, God.
She took a step closer, voice trembling.
Twilight, I need to say something.
Oh, don't let her get close.
I might not get another chance.
Oh.
Twilight's blood turned to ice.
This is where I wonder if the
Not another
disease takes
I've been
control
thinking
of the
about this
host
for
on
a long
autopilot.
time. Seeing Big Mac and Sugar Belle at the end like that, I can't keep it in anymore. Twilight Sparkle,
Ooh. Ooh.
I'm in love with you.
Oh, did that the
The
thing?
words
Oh,
hung
God, I'm
there,
sorry. I'm just a sucker.
heavy and bittersweet. Twilight's eyes widened, mind racing.
Uh-huh.
She had hoped.
See, is
for the most
AJ in her right
sacred
mind
of
right now?
hearts, but had
Or is
never
that the
thought,
mistletoe
had never
talking?
wanted to risk their
You know?
friendship by even entertaining
I wonder
the
if it,
idea.
like,
Before she
takes
could respond,
control of the brain,
Applejack
sorta.
closed the distance between them
Oh.
and kissed her.
Oh, shoot. Oh, AJ just had to
It
go to
happened
spread
so
that
fast
infection.
that Twilight's mind short-circuited. For
Yup.
a moment, all
Mwah.
she could feel was the warmth of Applejack's lips.
Oh, my
the feel
God.
of
Twy, I
Applejack's
am
teeth
so sorry
against
for
her
you.
cheek. The sight of Applejack's green eyes
I love it.
closing to save her
Yes!
kiss was all her universe
Yes!
comprised of.
Tell you,
For
taste
one
a little
sweet,
bit of wood in there.
shining moment, Twilight Sparkle lost herself in the press of the other mare's mouth.
Hey,
in
Twy.
what could have
live
been
it up.
worse. But then, a strange, tingling sensation
Oh!
curled
Oh!
through her
Oh!
mouth, like a dozen tiny cold tongues.
Oh, it's so cursed.
unfurling against her teeth.
It's
and
like,
tongue.
is it smart, too?
One even reached down her throat.
Oh,
and
my God.
Twilight broke the kiss to pull back, coughing violently.
Oh, my God. It's, dude, I wonder if the disease is also intelligent to a degree. Like, it knows how to spread and when to.
That was when she saw it.
Oh, no.
Tiny green tendrils were already beginning to sprout
Oh, no.
from Applejack's lips
Oh,
and
God.
nostrils.
Who let her in?
Her eyes were bloodshot, and her breathing
Oh,
was
God.
labored.
Oh, God.
Now that she had stepped into the illumination of the firelight, Twilight could see that Applejack's whole body was covered in dried blood and glittering
Twilight?
spores.
Sorry.
Applejack choked out, tears streaming down her
God.
face.
Just drowning on plants. Oh, my God. You're nothing but a host to that thing. You're its puppet. It's horrible. Oh,
too
God.
late.
It's spreading super quick for her.
It's too late for all of us.
This, oh my God, AJ.
Already dead, Twilight.
We're already dead.
There ain't no cure that'll save us.
She doomed everyone.
So, I've had to see you one last time.
You know, if she wasn't infected, oh my God, dude, what do you do?
I couldn't die without telling you
Oh, you didn't have to get in my face, AJ.
that
Oh god. Oh god. Here it comes.
Applejack's body convulsed. She collapsed onto her side with a terrible groan.
Was the contact with Twilight enough to
It looked like
accelerate
it was
the
dusted with
process?
frost, seeped from her nose and tear ducts.
Applejack!
Oh, yep. Oh, that's, oh god. Ooh, very detailed. Ow.
Vines erupted from the Earth Pony's chest and stomach, wrapping around her like a blood-soaked cocoon.
I hate it. I love it.
Twilight screamed as she was thrown back.
I would scream
shielding
too.
herself with a magical barrier.
Watching this happen in front of me.
Leaves, white petals,
Oh,
and glowing
God.
red berries butted
Oh,
up against her
my
shield,
God.
as if trying to pry it away to get at her. Applejack's wide,
Holy.
staring, unseeing eyes.
Oh, that's
disappeared
so
from view.
gross.
When the
Oh.
pain subsided.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Oh, it's worse.
Gore-spattered mistletoe, berries glowing faintly.
That's good though.
In the dimness
Oh, dear Lord.
Twilight's study.
Oh my god.
Twilight staggered to her hooves.
What do? You realize you're infected. What do?
No, no, no!
You did this to me,
A
AJ.
barrier spell around her body. She rushed to the mirror over the fireplace and opened
Oh
her mouth.
god.
Down
Oh
her
my
throat,
god.
She could already see tiny vines
Oh,
coiling around the
Rick.
back of her tongue. Their tips
Dude, it spreads so
blooming
quick.
into minuscule red berries. The mistletoe
Oh.
worked faster
Oh.
than ponies with magic, and she
Oh, Twi,
had
I'm
more
so
magic
sorry.
inside her than anyone else in Ponyville. Panic surged through Twilight. She had spent days trying to find a cure or a counterspell,
Oh no.
but now it was too late. The
Goosebumps.
spores were inside her,
Yeah.
feasting on her flesh.
Dude, those suckers are
becoming
fast
one with her
acting.
body,
Oh my god, they spread
supercharged
so
by
quick.
her magical life force.
Oh.
And after seeing what had happened to Applejack, she knew what would come next.
I'm so sorry, Twi.
Twilight sank to
I'm
the
so
floor,
sorry.
tears streaming down her cheeks. She thought of her friends waiting in the map room.
Oh my god.
She thought of Applejack's final words and the look in her eyes before the end. Applejack had known, had accepted that it was already too late.
And then she screwed you
And she was
over.
right. Twilight's chest tightened.
Oh dear god.
It had been too
Oh,
late.
what a painful
and the moment
process.
Pinkie Pie brought that damned mistletoe
Yup.
back to Ponyville.
Frickin'
with her.
Pinky, how'd she survive?
Of course, it did not affect yaks negatively. They did not have nearly enough
God
magic
dang.
in them to trigger its
The
worst
yaks
effects.
never knew the whole time?
Ponies, however. Quickly,
I want a
Twilight fetched
sequel.
a sheaf of parchment and began to write.
Dear Princess Celestia, it is with great unfortunate tragedy that I am about to explode like a pinata due to a toxic mistletoe plant. Yours truly,
Hearths
your
were
faithful
green,
student,
dawn
Twilight Sparkle.
cold and still. The castle of friendship stood silent, completely shrouded in vines.
That was a very grim picture of
Mistletoe
AJ, though.
hung from every corner.
That's
crimson
horrifying.
berries glowing like macabre
Green,
holiday lights.
Red and
In
white.
the map room,
Terrifying
6
color scheme.
cocoons lay where 5 ponies and 1 baby dragon had fallen.
That is
The
horrifying.
map table was spattered with so much red, it looked like it had been decorated too. In Princess Twilight Sparkle's study, the fire had begun to burn out. A letter lay on the table. Dear Princess Celeste.
This is random. I know. Sorry, I don't want to pause like right here. I'm gonna pause right here. I already apologize. I'm sorry. But when I read this the first time, I was like only imagining like, what if there was like fragments of dust and stuff lying around to like simplify that Twilight's been here dead for a while. The letter never got out, leaving a little ominous element in there.
Yeah. By the time you read this,
Who knew how much
it
time
may
passed?
already be too late for me. The spores have taken hold, and I know what's coming.
This is
I've
sad.
watched it happen.
Oh, I can only imagine the
I'm not
feeling of
afraid to
that. The
die,
tendrils just branching
But I am
throughout your
afraid of what
skin,
will
your
happen
flesh,
if this infection spreads beyond Ponyville.
and then it just
Unless
bursts
you have
through.
found a cure for the
Ugh.
infection, it is too late for this town and the ponies in it.
That's
The
depressing. Music is
mistletoe
depressing.
spores are unlike anything we've ever faced. They thrive on warmth and magic, feeding on the very essence of life of whatever they manage to penetrate. The more magical a host, the faster they work. They don't stop. They don't relent. And they've already claimed so many. Even now, as I write this, I can feel them growing inside me.
Gross feeling, I can
I
imagine.
don't have much time.
I can't
So I
can't
must be
imagine.
brief, Princess. I have placed a protective shield around the town, holding back the infected vines and spores as best I can. But the spell is tied to my
See, I love the
magic.
Christmas music.
When I die,
It fits
will
so well
fade.
here.
When that happens, there will be nothing to stop the spores from escaping into the winds and spreading across Equestria. I will hold on as long as I can, but I don't know how long that will be. You must act swiftly, Princess. Come to Ponyville. Wait outside my shield. When it drops, I beg of you, use your magic to destroy Ponyville.
I wonder if Celestia could have made another shield around like Twilight Shield, you know? Just make a bigger shield around Twilight
Annihilate
Shield.
it all and salt the ground.
Salt the
lives
ground,
of
definitely.
So many depend on containing this infection here.
But the
no
fire
matter
won't
the
do
cost.
anything.
I know what I'm asking of you. Ponyville has always been a place of love, friendship, and hope. It's where I've grown, where I've laughed, and where I've lived some of the happiest days of my life. And I think I might have found more here, had things been different. But if destroying it means saving the rest of Equestria, then I gladly accept that fate. I'm sorry that I couldn't save my friends. Please commemorate them. They didn't ask for this, but they'll pay the price for it along with the rest of the town. I'm not able to ask them, but I'm sure they would agree with my request of you. Thank you, Princess, for everything. For trusting me, for guiding me, and for teaching me what it means to be a leader. I hope that in my death, I can do one last bit of good in this world. Please, Princess, don't hesitate. Come as soon as you can. The moment my magic fades and Ponyville is revealed, you must act with precision, speed, and lethal force. Promise me that you will. Your faithful student eternally, Twilight Sparkle.
That is so freaking good. I got so like immersed into that. Dear
Beside the
Lord.
desk lay a tangle of vines studied.
That
with
is
mistletoe.
horrible.
Twilight had tried until the end. to
That's
do the right thing.
horrible. With the
She had fought
eyes.
with every atom of her being.
You did good, Twi. You
But
did the best you could.
It had not been enough. The mistletoe had taken too much of
Oh
her
my.
by the time she tried to send the
That
letter.
is horrible.
White petals bloomed from the tip
I
of
only.
her softly glowing horn, snuffing out the last of
Oh,
her alicorn magic.
that is so. Dude, the music.
Outside,
It's so good. I
shield
can't
around
stop with saying
Ponyville
it's so good.
flickered
It's so good.
and died. The
Drama.
wind howled, carrying tiny silver spores that looked like dustings of
Yes.
frost
Yes.
far beyond Ponyville, across the empty sky.
Good.
Hearth's warming eve would never be the same ever again.
It's gonna be Hearthwarming Remembrance Day. Dude, that is so good! I love it! Oh my god! See, fire doesn't do anything, but maybe Celestia's might be able to do more. I love it. Music. Excellent choice. Bravo! Yes! Bravo to all of you who voiced in this. Oh my gosh, I was so in it. That was so good. Oh man. I'm a sucker. I'll say it again. I'm a sucker. Props to you all though. Oh my goodness. Art direction by Kai Creature. Psy Creature? I might be completely butchering that. I apologize. Adachia 10, I think. Ash Arts. Beautiful. Dude, I had such a blast. DannysArtDen. Audio and video editing by Scribbler. Props to you, Scribbler. Very impressive. Always love to see these works. Gosh, dude. Oh, the music just, like, has me so hyped up. Equestria will never be the same again. Beautiful. Beautiful. Gosh, just so it doesn't autoplay, I think I'm going to pause it right here. I love that. I know I said it a lot, but I love that. I'm honestly, I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker. That puts a big grin on my face. I get really invested into that. I know I watched it before, too, is the thing. It's like, oh, it hits just as hard the second time as it did the first. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man, I love Infection AUs. I'll say it again. I love that cred. Scribbler has another Infection series called the Cutie Mark Contagion. Cutie Mark Contagion, that's the one. Not a Cutie Mark Infection, it's Cutie Mark Contagion. Honestly, I don't know how I remember them all. There's a lot. But the music was good. I love the plot. I love the theme of that. The Christmas vibe. Very different compared to a lot of stuff I've seen with all the AUs. It's usually just, it's just another type of day in Equestria sort of thing. This one, grounded story. One season, Christmas, it's snowy out. Hearthwarming. Sorry, I keep, saying the two. But gosh, I think it's definitely a spore. Is it like a fungus type of thing? Maybe. I think it somehow, like with what we saw with AJ and the cakes and stuff, that it kind of makes you, as I mentioned earlier, probably a little bit in there, makes you a little bit more impulsive. AJ, maybe she always loved Twilight. I can't confirm in this. I think she might have been honest, but I can't confirm if that's the disease in her head talking. And if that encounter with Twilight, with all of Twilight's magic, somehow maybe caused Applejack to move further along in her stage. I thought it was super cool how, like, the one scene with the exploding pony, the stallion. Oh, that is grim. This is a very grim picture right there. This is so wild how it just kind of poof. It's just a cloud and he's crying. Dear Lord, that's horrible. In a good way. Absolutely love that. And I wonder, right, if all these spores, when Twilight Shield finally goes down, if everything, like, let's say there's just spores upon spores just filling up this all of the Twilight Shield, right? And then, so, like, as soon as she finally unalives, the dome obviously dissipates, and if it's almost like, kind of like an explosion that just kind of bursts in all directions, and then you just see all these plumes of white mistletoe shining powder stuff. Pardon me, lack of a better word. But it's just such a pretty story. This was originally meant to be released on Friday the 13th. This is super good, as always. God. Yeah, no, it's good. I don't have any more words. I could honestly keep going and going, but unfortunately, I'm just kind of going back on what I'm saying and such, but yes. Scribbler, that was good if you ever end up seeing this. Not sure if you will, but regardless, everyone, I hope you all enjoyed that. I hope you watched the original too. Give some credit where it's needed. I will leave links in the description so you can go check all this out yourselves. And I will see all of you in the next one. Peace out.